Alright gang, welcome back to the Triple Threat Challenge here on Zabby, and it is February, and obviously a lot of snow has hit us here on the farm. Couple of things about this new cow enclosure that we put in. Well, I guess it's really a pasture too, but anyway, this cow pen that we put in, which is really for water buffalo, but it's a cow pen. Couple things. So we talked about in the last episode, we put this in here, right? And we had a little bit of issues. As you can see there in the right-hand corner, clearly I've resolved some of these issues. All of you rightfully said, and I thought this, I think in the last episode, I think I mentioned it towards the end, that it's probably something I need some kind of a blower, a straw blower specifically, to actually put the straw in there, because they wouldn't accept them as a big bale portion. The same thing was actually happening for the food as well, and in this case, just grass. It required it to be actually not in a bale form. So, I did a couple of things off camera. One, I downloaded some straw blowers, tried them out. It's not that I don't like them. It's nothing to do with that. It just was not working that well with this whole setup. So, even though I'd like to try to do something a little bit different here, I ended up going back to our old standard silage stick, silage pole, whatever you want to call it. I went back to the old standard approach here because it's very much easier. It's very much more convenient for me, and it's a lot faster than the other one was. The big problem with the straw blowers that I'm talking about here, the biggest problem truly was, one, grass. I couldn't really blow grass with the one that at least that I installed, so it was only going to do straw, so we were still going to have the problem with the grass, right, to feed the cows. Now, obviously, eventually we're going to go to a TMR approach. Sorry, not cows, water buffalo. Obviously, we're going to need to move them to TMR at some point, but right now we're just going to be utilizing grass for a little while since they're babies anyway, and they're fine to eat that. Two, if I was going to do the straw blower, it really wants round bales. It doesn't want square bales, which is a problem. All we have is square bales. Now, we could obviously change our baler out to a round bale, and maybe we will eventually, but it just, I wanted to get some of this stuff done off camera, and I mentioned that I was going to do that, right? I was going to get this fixed all off camera. I've clearly done so. There's obviously a lot more work to still be done. There's not a whole lot of straw in there. There's not a whole lot of food in there, but you get the point. We're going to kind of continue to do that here today and get this all fixed up and resolved. Now, a couple other things we need to do today. One, the peas, they've run out of water. The pea greenhouse, we need to get that back up and running again. We can see if there's any contracts. I highly doubt there's going to be much with the, with the snow here on the ground, but you never know. And off camera, I moved all of the trees and the twigs and everything that we had knocked down a long, long time ago over here with all the other trees. If we're desperate at some point, we'll go and sell them. We still haven't sold them since the beginning of the actual series itself, so I don't think we're that desperate to sell them, but if we absolutely have to, we can. They're not worth a ton of money, so it really has to be something that we want desperately, and we just have no other way to make any money. Otherwise, I just don't really think it's even worth our time to go and get rid of those right now. So I'm just going to literally just throw them there. That's kind of what you would do anyway if you owned pieces of land, right? You'd throw some trees that might have knocked down in with other trees if you're not planning to sell them or anything like that. So anyway, that was a whole lot there at the beginning. It was very long-winded, but I kind of wanted to let you know, kind of what was going on, and the reason why we went with the silage stick, because we utilize that a lot, right? So I really don't like utilizing the same things over and over again. I say that, but there's oftentimes where I end up doing so. The silage stick is one of those things, right? It's just such a very convenient production, or a very convenient mod. It's hard to not utilize it, right? It's very hard to not utilize it. So in this instance, given the issues I had, I spent about an hour trying to get the straw blower to work properly. It was a struggle, and I would love to say that I recorded some of it. I probably should have. I didn't do that. If I had the chance to do it again, I probably would. Just to kind of show you, I could insert in a little blob of the issues that I was dealing with. But basically, I was trying to put the square bales up there in this round type of machinery. As a matter of fact, I can show you the machinery I was considering. Well, I did it off camera, of course, but I'll show you the machinery I was considering buying. and you know, just the issues that had come. Oh, actually, I didn't. I actually must have installed it already. But anyway, it was very similar to something like this. This looks actually like it would have been a little bit easier, but I've used this in the past, so I was trying to use something different. Actually, both of these seem like they would have been perfectly fine to use, but whatever, that's fine. We've moved on from that. I don't have it installed anymore, but anyway, it was bigger than those other ones were, so it should, you know, accept a couple more bales at a time, which would be, you know, nice for us, convenient for us. But it just, I'm telling you, it just wasn't working. The bales were falling out of it left and right. Those bales are not liftable, right? So I had to go around with the little JCB there. As you can see, I already have it hooked up, right? Trying to move the bales around and get them back in there. It was. I could see myself struggling when we needed to, you know, feed the water buffalo more straw, or feed the pen more straw, or whatever food, right? And we had a lot of other things to do. I could just see myself struggling and getting frustrated with it. I don't want to get frustrated with something like that. I don't think it comes off very well if I'm getting very frustrated. So I decided to go against it. So right or wrong, that's what I went with. Anyway, that was a very long-winded intro. How's everyone doing today? Hope you're all doing well. Things are relatively good today, gang. So today is actually Monday. I'm recording this Monday night. I got back late last night from DC. I mentioned that I was heading to DC, really to go watch the Reds play the Nationals. My mom is a huge diehard Reds fan, always has been her whole life, and we're trying to hit up all the different stadiums that she hasn't. Well, at least not. Maybe we won't get to all of them. I don't know, but at least hit up some of the stadiums that she's not been to. The Nationals was one of the stadiums she had not been to yet. So we did that. It was a lot of fun, with the exception that the Reds were completely swept by the Nationals, and now they really have no chance at all to make the playoffs, pretty much. So, yeah, they did great. They did real great. Sarcasm. But overall, we had a lot of fun. It was super hot, man. The day of the actual stadium, the day we went to the stadium, let me reword that, 110 plus degree heat index. It was insanely hot, uncomfortably hot. One, I don't really like the heat anyway. I don't. Yeah, I've mentioned this before, right? I like the mountains. I like to be in the mountains. Sorry, I had to take a drink there, gang. I felt like I was getting ready to cough. So you know, it was already too hot for me, and honestly, it was very similar. The humidity was insane. It was just very similar to being here in Ohio. The humidity is really bad in Ohio too. DC and Ohio, if you look at them on a map, they're near. It makes no difference. The same exact. You know, how would I word that? They're really like, if you move left or right versus on a horizontal line. If you did a horizontal line through the United States, they're so close together. It doesn't really make that big of a difference in comparison to, you know, north to south of the United States. So. Very, very similar to what we deal with, I guess is how I'm trying to word it. So, kind of used to it, but at the same time, it's brutal, man. It's just, the humidity that we get is just absolutely brutal. I know there's places that are a little bit worse than us, but it's bad, man. It's bad. So, it was really, really hot, Rod. Really, 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 really hot. And, you know, it was a struggle a little bit for us to be able to sit there at a ball game in that kind of heat. But we did it. We made it through. And, yeah, we got to kind of see some sights and stuff. Didn't get to go into the White House. We did try. We tried to get tickets or get... I think it's like a raffle-like thing. But anyway, we tried to get into that. That didn't happen. I don't even think Trump was there, which is the President of the United States, of course. Most of you know that. I don't even think he was there. So there really wasn't a whole lot of, like, heightened security or anything, like, major. There was definitely, you know, National Guard around. It was... This is just me being naive, because again, I haven't been to DC since I think I was like 6, maybe 7, so I really don't remember any of it. You know, I expected there to be a lot more protesting going on and a lot more homelessness and things like that, and there really wasn't. There was definitely some here and there for sure, but it wasn't like the news portrays it. Let's put it that way. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. It probably does, but we didn't really experience it all that much while we were there, so I guess you could call us that we were a little bit lucky. Maybe that's the way to word it. But yeah, overall it was fine. We got to do pretty much everything we wanted to do. I got to go and see one of the main things I wanted to do personally. I got to go see the Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, the Constitution, right? I got to see all of that, which I've never seen. It is crazy how faded that document is now at this point, and very hard to even make out. I say that document, those documents. It's very hard to make out even, what a lot of that says. But, they've got printed copies of it, so you can definitely read it. But the initial document, the original document, I guess I should say, very, very hard to read. Now, I do know that as far as, I don't know about the Constitution. I'm sure they did. But, the Declaration of Independence, I know they made, I want to say it was like 10 or something like that when it actually happened. There's obviously the real one, but then they made other ones in case something happened to one of them. But anyway, it was still cool to see that. So we got to see that. Went to the Holocaust Museum while we went to pretty much everything that we could really do, with the exception of maybe a handful of things that weren't as big for us. Obviously, saw the Lincoln Memorial. We went to Arlington. Saw the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Saw the Eternal Flame for JFK. We went up to the top of the Washington Monument. Got lucky there. We got up early and got in line for over an hour waiting to get tickets, and we were able to do that. Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything that we wanted to do, we were really able to accomplish, which was great. We got way more done than I expected. Let's put it that way. I really wasn't expecting to get as much done as we did, but yeah, it was actually overall relatively good trip. It really was. Now, one other thing I would like to do today, we've got this small grass field. It's a lot smaller than I had initially anticipated. We had to make this a lot larger just to make sure that we could fit all of the, required space that we need for the water buffalo. But, it's something. It's still something, right? It's still something to start with. So, honestly, I would like to do that. The problem is we've got this snow on the ground. It's going to be a little difficult, I think, for me to figure out exactly where everything is. Now, I think if I just go around with the plow, it should move the snow out of the way, or remove the snow, rather, in this instance, I think. So we'll give that a shot today as well. Contract-wise, what do we got out there? I would expect very little, if anything, dead wood, wood transport, rock removal. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do that rock removal because that's such a good price. We're getting a really good price for that. It's basically it makes no difference, $5,000, and then a dead wood. So yeah, we'll do those contracts as well today. And it may not seem like we've got a lot to fill up a lot of time today, but I do think everything that I just mentioned is going to take a while. I do think all of that is going to take a while to do. We've got to move all the straws around and more grass around. Also, we need to start figuring out what we're going to do with the TMR, right? We need to do something with TMR for these water buffaloes soon. They're going to be fine for, a handful of months, but then eventually they're going to start needing TMR, which means we've got to figure out a way to start making TMR. So we've got to fit some kind of a TMR production or whatever, or we buy just a mixer, right? But regardless, we've got to figure out something, to be able to accomplish doing that. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we come up with, but yeah, I think that's pretty much the main stint that I got to talk about right now. What else? Talked about the trip. Talked about moving the wood. I talked about going to the talked about going with the approach of the silage stick versus going, with a straw blower, just because, one, I'd have to pay for the straw blower, which the one I was going to look at getting was like $50,000, which is not cheap. We don't have tons of money. We got some money now, but we don't have tons of money. It was going to be $50,000, and then I still wouldn't be able to do anything with the grass. The grass would still become an issue, right? So, So yeah, I think that's really the main bulk of the things I have to talk about. So we've got to get some water going here. Now, the problem with what we have right now, I don't think this water tank is quite big enough, right? I don't want to continue to make these trips like we've been making here for 3,000 liters, and it holds what, 20,000 liters. So that's quite a number of trips. Is there anything in the used market? Of course there's not. Why would there be anything in the used market? Why would we ever get that lucky? We never would. So we can go with maybe a slightly unrealistic approach here and buy a little bit of a larger tank. I don't want to go crazy, but 50,000 liters is insane really for the size of this, but honestly I think it's kind of worth it. So I'm going to do it. I'm obviously not going to go the super crazy capacity here. We're not going to go that. That's insanity. But, we'll make it a little unrealistic just to save ourselves a little bit of time. So we'll buy that, 11 grand, and we'll turn this one back in. I'm obviously going to go drop the water off here just so we can get the greenhouse up and running. Then we'll head back down there, pick up that water tank, and we'll be able to accomplish this. So we'll get that done. We'll come back up here. We'll get the plow. We'll start working on this grass field, which is going to be a very, very, very awkward shape. But that's all right. That's all right. It doesn't necessarily have to be a normal shape. It's a grass field. It really doesn't make that big of a difference, but it will be a little weird. It will be a little weird. Now, we do have a mower. It's just kind of a front mower. It's probably going to be sufficient for the size of that grass field. If we start adding more, which I think we're going to have to, but regardless, if we start adding more, we might have to change plans there a little bit and get a bigger mower at some point. But for the time being, it's probably okay. It's probably okay. So I'm not going to worry about that too much right now. As a matter of fact, it's not even probably. I'm not going to worry about that too much right now. We'll kind of worry about that later on when we get to that point. The grass, even if we get it all set today, obviously we need to plow that field up, then put grass seed in the ground. Even if we get all of that done today, it's not going to be ready to harvest for a couple of months anyway, right? And we're in the winter months now anyway, so nothing's going to grow until next month. So, but anyway, you got the gist of everything. I've talked a lot. Let's get going, and we'll get the water in there. We'll get the plow out. We'll get that field plowed up. Maybe start the drilling, maybe do all the drilling of the grass seed, and we'll go from there. Scratch that, no grass drilling today. It is February. I forgot where the season's on. There's no you can't seed grass until next month. So we'll have to wait for next month regardless anyway. But still, we need to get that field plowed up and obviously the greenhouse, and then we'll kind of take a look at cleaning things up a little bit, contracts, maybe looking at some TMR type of stuff. See if we can get that sorted today too, if possible. If not, we can wait on the TMR, like I said. How well that's coming off in a time lapse there. To me, it seems the snow being removed there is a little, I don't know, nauseating to maybe a little bit. Hopefully, it's not terrible when the time lapse is happening. But if it is, I mean, it's a little bit late, I guess, at this point, and you probably already turned away. But I apologize. It's not really what my thought or intent was. And while we're here, we've got some of this straw that we were talking about that kind of, went over a little bit. Let's just see if we can remove it perfectly. As you all correctly stated, it does remove it, which is wonderful. Okay, so that field's prepped, really, with the exception of putting some lime down on it. So we'll throw some lime down on there right now just to get it, set up and ready to go, just like all the other fields we got. We got quite a number of fields. March is going to be, well, maybe March. the coming months here are going to be very, very busy as we continue to try to, put stuff into the ground in all of our fields. I'm hoping, we spent a little bit of money today, but nothing crazy. Obviously, the TMR production or whatever we end up doing for that is likely going to take up a good chunk as well, right? But, yeah, I'm hoping here soon we'll be able to buy, That's not really doing a whole lot, is it? But anyway, I'm hoping here soon we'll be able to, buy the production that we require, for the poppy seed. So that way we can actually start doing poppy, because we have yet to do poppy. Now, if you stumbled across this for whatever reason, and you're not sure quite what's going on here, check the link down below. There's 3 threats that we have to do. I know this probably should have been stated earlier on in the episode, but bear with me. One of those threats is you get a randomized crop. That randomized crop, regardless if you buy a field that has it in it or, if you decide to plant it yourself or seed it yourself, you can't do anything with it until you turn it into a byproduct that crop can produce. In our case, we got poppy, which means we're going to make poppy seed oil. So we've got to buy the oil mill. And it's not just a matter of us putting down any oil mill we want. We've got to buy the one that actually comes standard within the map itself. In our case, it's over $200,000, I believe, for this mill. So it's very, very expensive. We're close, but we're not quite there. We decided to go the approach of another one of the threats, which is animals. We decided to do the water buffalo first and foremost, and got those in, which I'm very, very happy about. But next up, it's getting that oil mill. If we can get that oil mill, we're going to be in a really good spot. And this series will take its next leap forward as soon as that happens. The water buffalo is definitely a big leap. Definitely a big leap. We got a few more fields we still have to buy as well. We have bought about half the fields that we're required to buy. With that same threat that I was talking about, when you get a randomized crop, at the very beginning of the game, you had to mark down every field that had that randomized crop that you got, and you had to buy all those fields. That's part of the rules. So for us, we had 6 poppy seed oil or poppy seed fields, whatever, poppy fields, whatever, that we had to buy. We've purchased 3 of those 6. One of them is a larger field. The other ones were relatively small. We still have another large field, a medium-sized field, and then a small field. So we need some more money for all of that as well, right? All right, so that grass field is honestly... that's the best we can do with it and in its current state, right? Where it's as good as it can be for right now. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with the TMR. Like I said, I need to figure out the TMR. We really need to figure out the TMR, and honestly, we need to figure it out probably pretty quickly. The water buffalo, like I said, probably got a handful of episodes or so before they're really going to be, probably more than that actually, but before they're really going to be able to start reproducing, and then before they're going to be of adult age that requires the TMR. Contracts. Anything else come out? No, nothing else came out. So I'm going to do the deadwood first. That should only take a few seconds to do. We're on multiple fields here, so I guess it doesn't really matter which one I go to. I think I'll just visit here, and then we'll flip around. And yeah, perfect. Now, it's going to be probably a little more difficult to find the trees here in the winter, but I think we'll be all right. There's 3 of them right here. I don't know how many we need. It's only $900, so it's probably not many. Might have even missed a couple by now. I have to go backwards and find those. So this will be a nice, easy $900 here, which will be good. After selling the old water tank in favor of the one we got today, and then by the time we're done doing these contracts, it'll probably pay for all of those. On the last episode, we had to increase our loan again. That's another one of the threats. Again, everything's down below, and if you want more details and you're new and are confused about something, just let me know in the comments. I will get back to you when I can. Sometimes it's not immediate, but I will try to get back to you when I can. We bumped up to $350,000 essentially in the last episode. We were forced to take out more of a loan, another $100,000 for another year. Can't do anything with the loan, can't pay it off, can't touch it at all until next January, and it's all based on a randomizer on if we're even allowed to pay it off or not. But our loan interest went from $833 a month last year to $1,166 a month. Is it going to kill us and break the bank? No, but it is becoming a bit of a nuisance. In this instance, though, I was actually kind of happy that we got that. That's what I was actually hoping for, which may surprise you, but it truly was what I was hoping for. Reason being is because we were able to do the water buffalo, 1. 2, we're getting very close now to where we can do the oil mill as well, right? And getting both of those things are just going to leap the series forward at a crazy pace, at a rapid pace, right? Not really the word I'm looking for, but we're going to use the rapid pace anyway. All right, contract's done, so we can turn that in. A quick $900. Like I said, took no time at all. We're going to do this rock removal. We need to borrow the items for this. It is a long hike to get up here, so this is going to take a while. Now, I won't put this into a time lapse. I will just be with you once we get up there. And, yeah, we'll probably do a time lapse of doing the rock. Whoop, if I can actually attach it. Thank you. We'll probably do a time lapse, though, of actually removing the stones here. Or moving the rocks, turning them into stones, rather. Now, this contract we don't have any issues with at all, but there is another contract on this map for whatever reason that does not seem to work. We initially thought it was because I had stones off. Wasn't the case. I turned stones on, still didn't work. It just glitches the whole map out and crashes it. Now, maybe there was some update since then. I don't know, but the last time we tried that, which, I don't know, it was probably like 8 to 10 episodes ago, crashed the whole game all the way back out to the menu. So anything that I did up to that point that was not saved, we had to redo it, right? So we tried it again, and still to no avail. So not going to be touching anything to do with the other rock contract, which is just kind of picking up stones off the fields. But this one, we haven't had any issues with this one up to this point. But just in case, I am going to do a save and make sure. Last time, maybe I shouldn't have saved there, actually, now that I think about it, but that's all right. I don't think we're going to have any issues with it. But anyway, when we did the other ones and they crashed, you actually lost money, right? You didn't even get to do anything. It crashed the whole game. You load it back up, and it says contract failed, and you lose like half the money of whatever the contract was. Which is not very fair, right? So basically, we're just kind of banning those, at least from my playthrough on the Xbox, that I'm on the Xbox. We're banning that completely. Anyway, I've rambled enough again for a while. I will meet you up all the way up in the top left-hand corner. It's going to be a minute before I get up there. For you, it'll be a matter of seconds. All right, we're almost here. We definitely haven't been up in this area before. If we were, it was just for a deadwood contract, and we probably just jumped to a field, but very pretty up here. Very, very pretty. It shouldn't be too difficult to find these stones because these trees are not very dense back here. They're kind of, you know, spread apart. Well, over here it's a little bit more dense, but over here they're spread apart a lot, or they're at least really tall trees where the branches and stuff are not low to the ground. But a little more over here. But it's very easy to see these red flags, so this really shouldn't be terrible. Now, on the way up here, I did take a peek and see if anything else came out in the contract world. Another Deadwood contract came out, a really good one for that matter, $1,350. So if we do that one, which we will do, near it makes no difference. We're going to be back to where we started at the beginning of the episode, and we got an upgrade, to our water tank, which is great. Okay, both those contracts are done, and so are we for today's episode. We're going to leave it here. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash the like and subscribe button in the case you've yet to do so. They are both free to do. It helps me out more than you can possibly imagine. It's by far the easiest way to help me and the channel out. Thanks to my members for all of their continued support. I really don't know where I would be without you guys. If you want to become a member, there's a link down below. You do get early access to videos like this one, including a members-only series that occurs once a month. Check out the second channel. Check out the Discord. Check out the shop. Working on a new shirt for this month. It'll be a farming shirt. I've mentioned before. It'll kind of be an alternation every once in a while, but we're going to be working on a new shirt for this month as well. We'll do a special on it every single time a new shirt comes out. We're going to kind of incorporate some kind of a special for that, but if you're interested in any type of farming shirt of any sort, maybe check out the shop. There's a link down below. It helps support me as well. Yeah, I think that's all I got. Thanks so much for watching, gang. Thanks for your support, as always. I really do appreciate you, and I'll see you next time.